and welcome to another episode on Crash Cinnamon. So today we are on trust, and we're doing part 3, trust between couples, in terms of if they're dating or marriage. You would think that this issue about trust within a romantic relationship is obvious, but it isn't, and that's why we're talking about it. It's been said that trust is an essential building block. It's what gives a relationship latitude. It's what holds a relationship together. In fact, it's regarded in more regard than even love, because let's face it, you don't love each other every day in a relationship. Sometimes you don't feel the love. But trust is very important. So without going to too much waffle and let's just hit the nail on the head. So, can trust be built in a relationship, or is it automatically because you're dating or you're married, you'll trust each other? In my experience, I'll be married now for 2 years, and I have to say it was built over time. And you remember when we said in the other episode, especially for children and parents, there's some children who look at trust as something consistent. So if mommy and daddy does this consistently, then I can trust them, So in relationships, kind of like that mostly, because if you see your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife doing something consistently to show you that you can trust them, then you trust them. For example, if you agree to do a certain business together, and one of you is the one who takes care of orders or purchases or the marketing bit or the money bit. So if you consistently see they're able to do what they need to do when they need to do it in the business, and they're not just keeping their cart and they're also looking after you, then you say, okay, I can trust this person. And for those who are in blended families, for example, if you're joining a family already, this parent might look at how you treat their child and how consistently you're, if they're leaving you with a child, like over time, and you can be dependent upon to do like ABCD, for example, drop them at dance club or whatever the situation is, then this parent you're wishing to join as your partner and will feel, okay, I can trust you. So where is the issue? Why do we find that trust is such it's something you can take a long time to build, but realistically and truthfully, I've seen that trust is something you can destroy in one day by one indiscretion, because you've decided to keep some information, you've not been forward in your communication, you've not been forthright, rather, you've not been honest about if it's money or it's a resource as well, okay? I have so many stories for this. It's unbelievable. First of all, I want to categorically say that sometimes something that's a deal breaker, you can choose to stay once the trust is broken. In that sense, it's basically upon your way of dealing with things. If you can withstand some of the things and say, okay, I'll forgive and see how next time it comes around. So I think we are very, as a society, we're very judgmental. If you hear somebody say, oh, my husband or wife did this, and in your books for you it's a deal breaker, you're encouraging them already to break up with that person or leave that marriage, whilst this person who happened to go through this situation, possibly they have the stamina or they have the grace to deal with what is happening and then move on. Does that mean we need to leave others in this bad situations they're in? I guess the way to look at it is, what is a bad situation? If someone has cheated in a relationship, for example, should they leave, the other party who's been cheated upon? Should they leave, or how many times is enough? And in what way should it, is just because you've caught him cheating, like for example, there's this this notion about for example, like flirting is not cheating, kissing is not cheating, it's only when you have like sexual intercourse or whatever that's proper cheating. But actually, you do know trust is broken the minute you start texting or communicating with the other person with an intention. And I find it funny when people say, oh, it didn't start out that way. But you do know when you are seated there texting this person, what was your intention in the first place? You are not just checking up on them. No, let's be honest, we are adults here, you're not. So why risk all the things that you've built with this person you're in a relationship with for something that probably won't last more than 5 minutes, or will end up actually being the Achilles heel of the relationship and end the relationship? So I remember, first of all, my this subject is very sensitive to me, and for a while I didn't know how to approach it because, every one of us has gone through a situation where their trust has been broken by someone they love, someone they're in a relationship with. So I'm no different. I've experienced it in every relationship. But I didn't want to approach it from a point where I'm still really hurt and stressed, and I feel anger every time I think about that person, this person. So I wanted to be sober-minded when I was speaking about this, so that I can give an honest opinion about what I perceive trust to be. So one of the hardest things for me has been to go into business with somebody I'm in a relationship with. That's because twice I've been in a relationship whereby we started a business with this person, and actually one of them was really, really bad, because this person convinced me to say, okay, nothing will go bad, we are adults, we'll respect each other. Even if we end up breaking our way, the business will still stand, we'll still carry on. And I was thinking, okay, logically, yeah, that makes sense, I can do that. But boy, it didn't turn out like that. In fact, he took the business, turned it to it's really doing well, and he kept telling people the way he's been doing it on his own. And mark you, there was no financial input from him in any way. He ignored everything that I'd done, the marketing, the financial stimulus, getting sponsorship, nothing, everything was just, and that really broke me. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing any more business with people I'm in a relationship with. And that's affected even my marriage at the moment, whereby we have a business with my husband, and sometimes I'm hesitant to do some things because I feel, you have that lingering baggage thing going on. Okay, so how do you build trust with somebody? Everyone is different. I have to say, once you study the person you're dating, the person who you're with, you'll be able to know how they translate the word trust, how it is defined in their own language. And I don't mean a language like Swahili or English or French. I mean their language of communication, or of me as a person, okay? And here now is the tricky bit. This person has to be truthfully honest with you and be very open so that you can learn their language and learn what they mean by trust. Because if they hide some things, or if they are not consistent as well, today they say, if you do this, I know I trust you, and this person does this, and then they change their story. Those people shift the goalpost all the time. It makes it a lot more difficult to build this trust. It requires vulnerability. It's not easy. And I think that's the hardest part, where especially two different people are coming together. You have to be vulnerable. You have to show the ugly side of you. You have to show the parts of your weak, where you feel you're weak, and it's really hard. I remember when I was having my baby, when I was giving birth, it was so hard for me to accept that my husband will have to take care of me for some time until I get on my feet, I heal. And sometimes I'd apologize to him and say, I'm really sorry, you have to do this for me. And he kept saying, but I'm your husband, it's okay. If he has to administer a drug, or he has to, even there are days he had to wash me, no, I'd feel okay, maybe this is too much in the boundary zone. But it's not, when I looked at it, it's because I had the wrong perception about what trust is like. Trust is in totality. You can't decide to trust halfway, 3/4 way. It's in totality, okay? So what do you do when trust has been broken? How do you build it back? Well, I guess it's whether you're willing, and whether this other person is willing to understand that what they have done has actually damaged the trust bubble you guys had created. If they don't recognize that, then it is super difficult to build up the trust. And I think sometimes, especially where there's issues of infidelity, the other person, and they won't be truthful until they're caught. And sometimes I wonder if they're truly repentant, or they're truly sorry. Had they not been caught, would they change from their ways? I went through a situation like that, and the person cheated multiple times, and it was so hurtful. It was, let's just say, it's one of those things I wouldn't wish on anyone, because I was a laughing stock. Everyone in that circle knew what was happening, and the minute I walk in, you just hear whispers and people talk. I was like, what's happening? Until I found out what this person I'm in a relationship with did. And the more I talked to this person, I was in a relationship, the person I love, I was like, dude, I thought we're on the same page. And then I came to realize, to him, there are some things he doesn't see as cheating. Like, for example, if he's flirting with somebody, they mean nothing. I was just bored. If they kiss somebody because he ended up doing that, that means nothing as well, because I'm not going to be with them. For him, the cheating ultimate is because they had sex. Because actually I couldn't even tell if that happened with the women he was with, and there are multiple women, and it was really, let's just say, it's one of those things whereby you sit down and you actually question yourself. You're like, what is wrong with me that this person would do this to me? What is it that he says, and actually it's funny, sometimes he'd even sit across from me and we're having a conversation, like, and this is the umpth time he's telling me, oh, this is not going to happen again, and I can see him scrolling through social media, and then he's texting this person, telling them how they're a star, they're more than enough, and they've just talked to me, we're having a conversation, and he doesn't think I can see that. And funny enough, I'm a Christian, so I pray a lot, and I used to ask God, reveal the truth, show me what's happening, because I can feel there's something not right. And we women have a sixth sense, and very plainly, things will start showing in the light, and it was very difficult to build trust with that person. It's just hard, yeah. So I'd say this person who wants to trust their partner, their boyfriend, girlfriend, you need to check 5 things about the situation. 1, are you doing this because you're desperate, you don't want people to talk, especially where marriage is concerned and there are children, you're feeling, oh, what will people say, blah blah blah, he's taken all the money, he's gone and gambled the money, he's put us into debt, there are bailiffs at our door. What should I do? Should I leave the relationship? What will my in-laws say? Okay, so the second question is, what's your mental space? How's your health? Is this thing affecting you to a point where you don't have peace? Okay, and if that's so, you need to end it. If the trust that was broken was that intense that your mental space, your mental health was damaged. Yeah. Third thing I'd say is this: what was your contribution in this whole thing? Because it's, in a way, trust is two-way. Even if this person went and did what they did, how did you react? What led to this situation? Did you had any part in this? And if so, how are you working on yourself? Okay. And fourth thing I'd say is this: has it changed the person you think you're with? Not you think you're with. Has it changed the person, the character, the person? This trust, the breaking, has it changed that person you're with? Do you feel like they're a different person now that you know what they did? Or is it the same person, or you just didn't want to check those red flags? If you realize that it changes your perspective about them in a way that you can't be around them or be continuously in a relationship with them and be honest, then that's fine. Fifth thing, and I think this is the most important thing: this relationship you're with this person, now that trust is broken, are you willing to repair it because it's for the good of both of you? Or it will make you feel better or make the other person feel better? If both of you don't heal from this situation, then there's no point. Okay? So yeah, it's a heavy topic. I think that the more you date with someone, I think you need to understand how they operate and be honest. Ask those difficult questions. I'm not saying you test them, but there's a way you can measure if somebody is a person of their word. Do that. Don't be in a rush to shack up or be married or be called a Mrs. or Mr. somebody, because once you're in and you've signed on the dotted line, things even get more murkier. So I'd say take your time, yeah, and be clear communication wise that, hey, if you do this, it's not cool. Okay? And the person who's broken the trust, be man or woman enough to actually say, I'm sorry, this is where I went wrong. Don't wait to be caught and work on things, don't let the other party be the one pushing you all the time. You know what you did, so act accordingly. So I'm hoping for us to have more healthier relationships where trust is cherished, is honored, and is revered. Okay, thank you for listening to this episode of Crush Cinnamon. This has been your host, Kazia. Have a nice day. Speak in the next episode of Crush Cinnamon podcast.